Travis Wayne Goodsell. Whew. Back from my run. Record-breaking time today. Had Battle Beast. Alright, so I've been talking about the importance in a crisis to have those in charge of society be able to respond instantly, not hesitate, not wait for higher authority to give the orders. There must be already preparation. You can't be saying, oh, okay, there's a crisis, let's go test and prepare. We'll need to practice, because practice makes perfect, and we want to practice so that we can be perfect. No, in a crisis time, you've got to be prepared. You can't hesitate. You can't form committees and can't do research studies. You have to be prepared to respond immediately. That's why it's called a crisis. And our institutions at all levels have failed us. Whether it's government, whether it's businesses, and religion. Church here in Utah. Mormon church. And as a result, people are dying. That's why we're in a crisis, is because people are dying. People are being put at risk. And every second counts. And because of that, we know them by their fruits. They have failed us. They're purposely depopulating the earth. And they're doing that on purpose. Remember the whole depopulation agenda from a decade ago? They were either warning us or they were a part of it, planning it, and teasing us, mocking us. Because the New World Order is taking over and transitioning us into the New World Order. And you guys thought that was just all some fiction falsehood. Well, what do you think now? And so, if you don't know, which means you're brand new to my site, I've sued the LDS Church. It's already in the federal courts. I've already demonstrated that the church cannot defend themselves against the accusations. They are guilty, and they are guilty of severe capital crimes. But because I can't get a prosecutor to make it criminal, I have to do it civilly. And so as a civil request for relief, I have to put in a dollar amount. And so the dollar amount with the capital crimes is everything. And so notice, the church is closed. They've sold their stocks, their investment stocks. They're calling everybody home from missions. That was the latest report on Saturday. And they're closing everything down. Churches, temples. And notice they're not doing a Bishop Storehouse emergency run. They're not helping during this crisis. They're relying on the Utah Food Bank. And the Utah Food Bank can't take care of everybody. They're dependent on donations. And they're only able to give a box of food that's about that size square of food. And it's whatever's donated. And so it's the crap food that nobody wants. And it's only meant to be a supplement to last upwards of a week. By the time you use all the stuff you eat, if you eat that food that nobody wants. There's a tendency among white supremacists, as I know from my own mother, that they think that if you starve someone, like children, that eventually they'll eat whatever you put in front of them. Well, I proved to my mother that she was wrong. So I got what I wanted. And so, yeah, I know all about white supremacy and the evils and the dangers that it poses. And so the church has failed us as well. And so the church has been served with the complaint. The church has until the 30th of March at midnight. Now that's next week. Next week and 19 hours. As it's 5 o'clock right now. 1 week and 19 hours. There are going to be more deaths during this time period because of the church's refusal to respond to the lawsuit. They're going in defiance. They're hoping that coronavirus will delay the court case against them. It's already been delayed with Kay Burningham's lawsuit. And hers is to whether or not they can proceed with a trial. And if the judge has been hesitating since February 13th. The church got what they wanted out of that case, but they're not getting it from mine because I was prepared. I dealt with their arguments in Kay's case, in my case, right from the beginning, so they can't use that argument in my case. Religion is not protected by the First Amendment when they are committing crime. And there's a distinct difference between the religion of the Mormon Church and the corporation that runs it. The corporation handed all power and authority to the stake presidents, in case you guys weren't paying attention all these years. They were slowly giving it up, transitioning it, and then now they've given up handbook number 1. They knew exactly what was going to happen. And there is a vaccine. Yes, there is a vaccine. I know I'm not an authority on news, but pay attention to Trump. What has Trump been doing? He's been leaking classified information. All these years as president, he's been leaking it. He's been leaking his plans, his intentions. You know, he wants to lock up people at the border. He went and locked up people at the border. It took people to leak the information to find out that that's what he was doing, but he does these things. And so now pay attention with coronavirus. He ends the tariff war with China on December 13th. Why is he ending it? Isn't tariffs easy to win? He then gets impeached and makes comments. If I'm impeached, I will tank the stock market. Oh, look what happened. And he'll destroy America. Well, financially destroyed. I thought he was going to shut down the government, but he knew about the coronavirus before any of us did. Because what happened was that when coronavirus struck, he's now using his magic Sharpie to rewrite history and has been exposed as having crossed out Corona and put Chinese over Corona. That's the latest leak. And so that's why he's been saying Chinese virus rather than coronavirus. And everybody's saying, oh, he's being racist. And then he replies, no, I'm not being racist. Because it was China who manufactured it. He knew they were manufacturing it. And he has the vaccine. Because when you manufacture a virus, you also have to manufacture a vaccine at the same time. And watch the movies. They all do it. All the villains do it. So that they don't get exposed to it as well. Unless they're going to be the carrier. But they were able to get Christian fundamentalists to be the carriers, the South Korean Christian apocalyptic group. And so what's Trump been doing? He's been exposing himself to other leaders and people who have the coronavirus. Congressmen have been tested and are isolating themselves. I don't think they're quarantining themselves, and then they're going with him on his plane, and he meets with the Brazilian leader who now tests positive for coronavirus. He's shaking hands. He doesn't like shaking hands. What's he doing? He's showing a miracle before your eyes. All the time, he's doing a magician's trick. He's got the vaccine. Again, never go up against a Sicilian when death is on the line. The Princess Bride. He built up immunity to iocane powder. Joy Pirate Roberts did. Wesley. And so, yes, that's why he's testing negative all these times. He got tested again. Pence is getting tested again because somebody in his department got the coronavirus. Where did they get it from? Oh, it was on the outside, obviously, because it couldn't have been from Pence, who got the virus but has immunities because of the vaccine. Do you see what they're pulling on us? They're purposely murdering us. This is what we're having to deal with. And so we can't force them to give up the vaccine. They're refusing. They're purposely ignoring us and our needs. They're not getting us medical treatment. They're not getting us testing. They're not getting us sanitation supplies, food supplies, hygiene supplies, basic necessities. They're forcing us to spend our last amounts of money as we're getting fired from our jobs, being forced to stay at home. We are being tortured with deprivation torture. That's what it's called. Excuse me, I'm burping up water. And they're torturing us, depriving us of basic necessities. They're not getting us tested. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. And we're being held hostage in our own homes, as our finances will eventually run out, and we won't be able to buy basic necessities. We won't be able to obtain information, even, because that's also a basic necessity, is communication. I don't know if other people have put it on their little pyramid things of basic necessities. It's on mine that I developed. Because without communication, people cannot work together to improve each other's lives. And we can't coexist if we are not able to communicate. And so I have a plan. The plan was going to be implemented whenever the church gives up and is forced to hand over everything. I have a collection agency ready to go. They said yes, once it's final, we'll take over for you. We'll get you your money. Because the church will, people often refuse to hand over the money even though the court ordered it. And that's why collections agencies are necessary, is to obtain the money from court orders. And so I know exactly what to do in a crisis situation, because I've already gone over what you need, right? Everyone needs to be tested. Everyone needs to be given food and basics. And without having a job, it can't come at a cost. It has to be given to you. And the system I have, this is just for the emergency crisis situation first. Then after that, then I've got plans to implement what Mormons call the law of consecration, where people will then do what they like to do and what they're good at, and make those products and provide them to the storehouses at your local area. And the surplus will be handed up the storehouse chain to the main central storehouse. But I've gone over that, and we don't need to go over that now, because we first need to deal with the crisis. And so, first thing that needs to be done, we need to obtain testing kits. There are companies who have produced testing kits. We need those testing kits. We need them to be mass produced. We need those kits now. And we need everybody tested. We don't want people choosing whether or not they want to be tested. No, everybody needs to be tested. We need to find out who's sick and who's not. And we're not going to do it so that we put people on a medical registry that their data is compromised with. We need to identify people to keep them alive and to make sure that their needs are taken care of. And so everybody will be staying at home except for power plants and other necessities. Food stores no longer need to be opened other than to assist with the handing out of food. As medical personnel will go door to door who are already tested and shown not to have coronavirus. Volunteers will go door to door taking food orders, making sure that those people who are also getting tested are also getting provided with food and basic necessities. And if you don't think that can be done efficiently, no, the church already has the system set up. They've been watching all of us. They know all of us. Trust me, they know all of us. And we'll start it here in Utah, obviously, as a test run to show you how it'll be worked and how the church in Utah can be utilized for that purpose. And so medical personnel will be required to go door to door to test everybody with testing kits. And volunteers will go door to door to provide basic needs. And we've got to go fast. We need to find out who's not sick so that they can go door to door and get everybody as fast as possible. And then once we identify everybody and their needs are taken care of, then we also need to provide them with computers and internet service, free. They need to have access to communications and know what's going on in the world, know what's going on locally, and be able to have access to that information. And so everybody will be provided with communications tools. And that's it. It's that simple. That's how you do things in an emergency. You shut down the economy of the system. You shut down all systems of work, because this is a virus and everybody needs to be tested. It's not oh, I might have symptoms, let me be tested. No, everybody gets tested. And if you test negative, we need your help going door to door, getting people food and delivering food. And obviously you need equipment and you need protective gear. All that will be provided. None of this crap that Trump pulled of putting people unqualified, unprepared to be exposed to coronavirus and bring it back to America, where we're in our current crisis because of that. So you can either wait, because I'm willing to bet the church is going to use coronavirus as their justification to cause the courts to wait, and the courts, being Mormon as well, will say, we have to wait. We have to wait till this coronavirus is over with. It's not going to be over with for years. Do you understand that? It's not a couple weeks, it's years. If you test negative for coronavirus, you can still get it. If you get the coronavirus and you get over it, you can still get it again. Maybe. We don't know. This is brand new. We are in a crisis right now. We need action now. And unfortunately, I can't implement my plan because of the church's hesitation with the courts. But eventually, the church will lose. So, yes, you can appeal to the courts. You can appeal to the church to hand it over to me, because I'll do what's necessary right now. The church is sitting on hundreds of billions of dollars, refusing to hand it over during the time of crisis. They're claiming that they want to give it to Jesus when he comes back for the second coming. That's what they meant by the parable of the talents in their first presidency statement when they got caught with the hundreds of billions that they're hoarding. And so, yes, once the church hands it over, we can implement all of this immediately. But if we can speed up the process, great, let's do it. Let's all band together and get the church to give it up. But otherwise, if you're wondering, well, what are we going to do about the Mormon church, the religion part? I've got plans for that too, don't worry. But right now we need to deal with the physical needs before we deal with the spiritual. And once we get everybody taken care of and we eradicate the virus and go back to our normal lives, we're going to need people to get back into work, obviously, and so yeah, I've got a job plan, law of consecration as Mormons call it. I've already got a system set up, and because of the system in this crisis, that will transition into my new world order, which will give you agency, which will give you freedom, which will get you to own your own property and not have to worry about rising up in the economic status in order to get a better quality of life. Everybody gets a better quality of life. Everybody gets educated. Everybody gets to do what they want to do, not forced to do something they don't want to do just because they need money to come in. No monetary system in my plans. But again, after we deal with the crisis. So take your pick. Do you want to continue with the way things are going right now? As the grocery stores are running out of food, they can't maintain this lack of pockets getting supplied over and over again for long. Eventually they will run out. They cannot maintain their system as they currently have it. They are exterminating everyone. They're exterminating mankind. That was the plot all along. And that's why I've been talking about the real church history, because Smith Sr. was the one who foiled that plot in 1826. But Joseph Smith Jr.'s organization was infiltrated and taken over and destroyed. So that's it. Not much more I can do other than wait. I mean, you guys have seen BYU students protesting the church. We need to protest, but we can't do it in groups of more than 10, so we have to send emails and letters and to everybody. So I don't know what we can do now. We just have to wait, and that's what we don't have. We can't wait. We need to act now, because your loved ones are dying, and we can't allow that. So, alrighty, I have Another church history thing today, Harmony to Harmony switch. Harmony, Pennsylvania. I've got more information on that. And then that's what I've been doing today, is this other one. So I didn't get to Brigham Young doing his video, The Rise of a Monster, but I did Heber C. Kimball already. But alrighty. Yeah, and Mormons also, with the religion, before I forget, you want more scriptures, right? You want the Bible translated correctly, Article of Faith number 8. You want it translated correctly? Guess who can do it? Not the leaders of the church. They haven't done it. They've gone through all this time. Benson says we're not going to do it in his first presidency statement. We're going to stick with this King James version, which is the worst King James translation, or the worst translation ever on history. Although it was a 1769 version that was the one Joseph used. But we didn't get the Apocrypha from that version. Kimball purposely denied us the Apocrypha because it has Nephi in Maccabees. And so Ezekiel 37, the stick of Joseph. Remember the book of Abraham came from the Egyptian papyri? There was another papyri that was what was called by Joseph the book of Joseph. Guess what he was doing? He was intending to fulfill Ezekiel 37. His intention was that the Egyptian documents were the fulfillment of Ezekiel 37. And I know how to do that. The church leaders don't. And so that's part of the religion. I will be providing you with these new translations from Egyptian documents and correcting the Bible translation, because it's real simple. I'm the one who deciphered Egyptian petroglyph translation and made the discovery that the Bible stories came from those petroglyphs from Egyptian. So again, we need to deal with the crisis first. So I hope we can do this. I hope the church complies, because they're refusing. They're shutting down instead of helping. So, alrighty.